Hello student. Today I am going to let you know about materials, metals and non-metals. Metals are the substances which have some mass and occupy space. Those substances which have some mass and occupy space are called metals. All the substances around us which are visible to us are metals, and such as air, water, bricks, table, all are metals. All are metals. Matters are broadly divided into three categories: elements, compounds, and mixtures. Among the elements and compounds are the pure substances, and elements are the substances which, when broken into smaller pieces, then they give the same kind of tiny particles called atoms. That is, elements are made up of only one kind of atoms. Compounds are made up of at least two different types of atoms or two different elements. And mixture, when we mix two substances in any proportion, then mixtures are formed. Example of elements: hydrogen, helium, lithium, calcium, magnesium, etc. Example of compounds are water, common salt, sodium hydroxide, sulfuric acid, etc. And example of mixtures: mixture of sugar in water, mixture of salt in water, mixture of any substance, that is air. You can say also air. Air is a mixture of many substances. Many gases are there. That is air. Therefore, air is also a kind of mixture. Now, elements, this is the purest form of a matter, are divided into three categories: metals, metalloids, and non-metals. Now, metals are the elements which can form positive ions by releasing electron or electrons, like sodium, potassium, calcium, aluminium, etc. These are metals. Metalloids. There are some substances which show the both properties at different conditions. That is the properties of metals and non-metals. Those substances which show the properties of metals and non-metals at different conditions are called metalloids, like boron, arsenic, antimony, germanium, polonium, etc. Non-metals, those substances which can form negative ions by taking electrons, are called non-metals, like chlorine, oxygen, nitrogen, so on. Of metals, the most abundant metal on earth crust is aluminium, and metals, among all the discovered elements, more than 70% of the elements are metals. Metalloids, number of metalloids more than 6, and non-metals are more than 22. About 22 non-metals are there among all the elements. Metals, there are some physical properties of metals and some chemical properties of metals. And metals have 1, 2, or 3 electrons in their valence shell. Now question arises, what is the valence shell? The shell or the orbit present in the last stage of any atom is known as the valence shell. That is, the last orbit is the valence shell. And you know, atoms have two parts. One is the nucleus and other is the extranuclear region. In nucleus, proton and neutrons are present, and electron revolves around that nucleus in different energy levels. And these energy levels are termed as K cell, L cell, M cell, N cell, and OPQ. That is, there are seven cells. The maximum number of cells in any of the atom is 7. There are 7 cells, but not in all the atoms there are 7 cells, but in some of the atoms there are 7 cells. Now, the electrons present in the valence shell are known as valence electrons. And in the case of metals, there are 1, 2, or 3 valence electrons. In the case of sodium, there is only one valence electron. Now, sodium, whose symbol is Ne, its symbol derived from Latin word natrium. That's why the symbol is Na, sodium, and its electronic configuration is 281. It means 2 electrons are revolving around the nucleus in the first orbit. Suppose this is the nucleus of sodium. The first orbit there are 2 electrons. 2 electrons are revolving around the nucleus in first orbit. In second, there are 8 electrons. 8 electrons are revolving around the nucleus in the second orbit, and in the third orbit there is only 1 electron revolving the nucleus, around the nucleus. This is the sodium atom. Now, it tries to complete its octets by removing 1 electron. That is, it tries to complete its structure like neon. Neon symbol is Ne, atomic number 10, and its atomic configuration is 2,8. And neon is an inert gas, and sodium tries to complete its inert gas configuration like neon, and in order to achieve the inert gas configuration, sodium tries to remove 1 electron. If it releases 1 electron, then there are now 11 electrons. After releasing 1 electron, there is 10 electrons and 11 protons. If it releases 1 electron, then number of electrons remain in the atom is equal to 10, but number of protons becomes 11 because it does not change. Number of protons does not change because it's accumulate in the nucleus of the atom. Now there are 11 protons and 10 electrons after releasing 1 electron from sodium atom. Now overall charge is +1 because 1 electron, the charge of 1 electron is considered as -1. When charge of 10 electron is -10, and that of the charge of 1 proton is considered as +1, then charge of 11 proton is +11, and overall charge is +1. After releasing one electron, sodium changes to sodium plus ion. Similarly, calcium changes to calcium 2 plus ion. Calcium, its atomic number is 20 and its atomic configuration is 2882. It tries to remove 2 electrons and want to complete its inert case configuration like argon whose atomic number 18 288. And if calcium releases 2 electrons, then calcium changes to calcium 2 plus 2e. Like sodium, when sodium releases 1 electron, then it changes to Na plus E. Similarly, aluminium, its atomic number is 13. Its atomic configuration is 283. And aluminum releases 3 electrons to form aluminum 3 plus 3 electrons. Electrons have negative charge. Now, here we see that so calcium, aluminum and sodium, calcium, aluminum releases electron and they form positive ions. Sodium releases 1 electron and forms sodium plus ion. Calcium releases 2 electrons and form calcium 2 plus. This aluminum releases 3 electrons and forms aluminum 3 plus. Thus, metals have tendency to form positive ions, and positive ions, as you know, are called cations. That's metals can form cations, and that's why we say that metals are electropositive elements. Now, more than 25% of the earth crust is constituted by metals. 25% of earth crust constitutes metal. And I have told you that more than 70% of the element, 70%, more than 70% of the elements are metals. Metals are generally found in solid state, and only one metal is found in liquid state at room temperature, that is mercury. Mercury is the only metal which is found in liquid state. Mercury Hg, its Latin name hydroxylium. Mercury is the only metal found in liquid state. At room temperature. Room temperature is considered as 25 degrees Celsius. room temperature RT is equal to 25 degrees Celsius. At 25 degrees Celsius, mercury is found in liquid state. And I told you that more abundant metal is aluminium. The metals are found in solid state. There is no any metal which is found in gaseous state at room temperature. Now there are 118 elements. Total number of elements. Total number of elements. Total number of elements is 118. And out of 180, naturally occurring elements, number of naturally occurring elements, that is which are obtained from nature, is 92. 92 metals are naturally occurring, and the remaining metals are prepared in laboratory. Number of non-metals, about 22 non-metals are there. Now, some physical properties of metals. We will discuss some physical properties of metals. Physical properties of metals. First, metals are rigid and they are found in solid state. Rigidity. Metals are rigid. Second, malleability. Metals are malleable. That is the property of metal, by virtue of it, we can change a metal into thin sheet, is called malleability. And metals are malleable. Third, ductility. Metals are ductile. Ductility is the property by virtue of it a metal can drawn into thin wire. Metals have property to drawn into thin wire, and the property of metal by virtue of it we can change a metal into thin sheet is called ductility, and we can say that metals are ductile. The most ductile metal is gold. We can draw for 2 kilometer length wire and 1 gram of gold. That is, gold is the most ductile metal, and gold is also a most malleable metal. Fourth is conductivity. Metals are good conductor of electricity, and metals are good conductor of heat. That is, heat can flow through a metal, and electric current can also flow through metals. That's why we can say that metals are good conductor of electricity, or conductors. Conductor or good conductors, the same thing. we say that metals are conductor of electricity. It means metal can from metals electric current can flow, and metals are good conductor. The same thing, but insulators are the poor conductors. Poor conductor of electricity like plastic and bricks, they are poor conductor. Air is also a poor conductor. Distilled water, poor conductor. That is, although distilled water is considered as a non-electrolyte because it is found in liquid state, and those substances which are found in solid state and do not conduct electricity, they are called insulators. And we say that wood is an insulator, plastic is an insulator, rubber is an insulator, and so on. Now, conductivity. Fifth is the lusterness. Lustrous. Now, lusterness is the property of metal due to which it has a shiny appearance. Metals have a shiny appearance, and the property of metals are called lusterness. That is, metals are lustrous. We can say that metals are lustrous, and metals can produce a ringing sound. When we strike a metal substance with a hard thing, then sound is produced due to vibration. You know, sound is produced due to vibration. If we strike a bell, like a bell, school bell, by hammer, then a sound is produced, and the sound lasts for after some interval of time. That is, the property is known as sonority, and metals are sonorous. That is, metals can produce ringing sound. A sound fades after some times. These are metals. Metals are lustrous. These are some physical properties of metals: rigidity, malleability, ductility, conductivity, lusterness, sonority. Sonority. As I have told you that metals have a tendency to produce ringing sound, and the property of a metal by virtue of which it can produce a ringing sound is known as sonority. And we say that metals are sonorous. Metals have specific luster also, by which we can detect one metal with other, and among metals we can detect any metal very easily, and this property of metal is known as lusterness of metal. These are the physical properties of metals. There are some chemical properties of metals also. Chemical properties of metals. Chemical properties of metals. First, reaction with oxygen. Metals react with oxygen to form metallic oxides, and metallic oxides are generally basic in nature, like Na plus O2. Sodium, when react with oxygen, it forms Na2O, and a complete reaction 4Na plus O2 gives 2Na2O, and this one is known as sodium monoxide. Sodium monoxide. And sodium monoxide, when dissolved in water, it is converted into sodium hydroxide. Similarly, 4K plus O2 gives 2K2O, 2K2O plus only 2K2O, and this is known as potassium monoxide. Potassium monoxide. The oxides of sodium and potassium when dissolved in water, they produce bases like sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. These are the chemical properties. Na2O plus H2O. This gives 2NaOH. Sodium hydroxide. Name of the compound is sodium hydroxide. Similarly, K2O plus H2O. KOH plus H2 here also. Na2 plus 2H2O and AOH plus H2. Now this is balanced equation. Na2Na, hydrogen 4, hydrogen 2 and 2 4, oxygen is 2 and 3 here. Oxygen here is just 2. This one is not balanced. Na2O plus 2H2O NaOH. Balanced equation is this one. Na2O plus H2O. 2 NaOH. Na, 2 Na, hydrogen 2, and oxygen 2. Now it is balanced. 2 KOH. K2O plus H2O, 2 KOH. There is no hydrogen atom. Only sodium monoxide reacts with water, that is when it mixes with water, then sodium hydroxide is formed. And potassium monoxide when dissolved in water, then potassium hydroxide is formed. And these two are complete balance equations. K2, there are 2 atoms of potassium there in the reactant side, and product side also 2 atoms, hydrogen 2, oxygen 2. Now this is potassium hydroxide. Potassium hydroxide. Thus we see that metals react with oxygen to form metallic oxide, and when metallic oxide are dissolved in water, then metallic hydroxides are formed, and these are the bases. That's why we say that metallic oxides are generally basic in nature. Now the second reaction is reaction with water. Chemical property from chemical reaction with water. K plus H2O gives KOH plus H2. 2K, 2H2O, 2KOH plus H2. This is the complete equation. Potassium reacts with water to form potassium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. Similarly, sodium reacts with water to form sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. And these reactions are the reactions of metals with water. When metals react with water, then metallic oxides and hydrogen gas, or metallic hydroxides and hydrogen gas are released. In this case, metallic hydroxides are released, are formed, and hydrogen gas are released. Now, reaction with water. Now third one is reaction with acids. Reaction with acids. Metals react with acids, dilute acids, to form salt and hydrogen gas. Zn plus HCl. This gives, and this is dilute, therefore you can write aqueous here. Zn in solid state gives ZnCl2 aqueous and hydrogen gas. This is a gas. You can write an arrow pointing upward direction. Similarly, aluminum also solid react with HCl aqueous to form aluminum chloride AlCl3 aqueous plus H2. Now we have to balance this 6 right here, 2, hydrogen 3. This is the complete reaction. 2Al solid state plus 6HCl aqueous gives 2AlCl3 aqueous plus 3H2 gas. Thus we see that when metals react with acid, then salt and hydrogen gas are produced. This is one of the properties of metals. Metallic oxide also act as a base, and when metallic oxide react with an acid, then salt and water. Salt and water are formed. And this is type of nucleation reaction. Therefore, metallic oxide plus acid gives you salt plus water, and this is the type of nucleation reaction. You know, there is a reaction between an acid and a base to form salt and water, and the reaction between an acid and a base to form salt and water is known as nucleation reaction. And metallic oxides can react with the dilute acids to form salt and water. That's why we can say that metallic oxides act as bases, and metallic oxides are generally bases. But there are some metallic oxides which show the both property, acidic as well as basic properties, and that metallic oxides are known as amphoteric oxides. The example of amphoteric oxides are ZnO and Al2O3. Amphoteric oxides. Those metallic oxides which act as both, that is an acid and a base, are known as amphoteric oxides. ZnO and Al2O3. These are the examples of amphoteric oxide: zinc oxide and aluminum oxide. Zinc oxide sometimes acts as an acid because it reacts with base to form salt and water, and sometimes act as base because it reacts with an acid to form salt and water. That's why ZnO is amphoteric in nature. Aluminum oxide can also react with acid and base separately. It reacts with an acid to form salt and water, that's why it is a base, and it reacts with a base to form salt and water, that's why it is an acid. That's why there are some metallic oxide which are amphoteric in nature. ZnO and Al2O3 are amphoteric in nature. Now, uses of metals. Metals are used for many purposes. That is, in manufacturing, buildings, metals are used and metals are used to make bridges. Metals are used to make ornaments. Metals are used in different purposes to make alloys. Alloys are mixture of two or more than two metals, and sometimes alloy is a mixture of metal with non-metals. Like steel. Steel is an alloy of metal with carbon. And we can form different type of steel by adding some different types of metal with iron and carbon. And similarly, brass, bronze, and duralumin. There are many which are alloys, and alloys are made to make a substance of desired properties. That is, if you want to make a substance which should be lighter and which has a high tensile strength also, which can bear high tensile strength, like duralumin, then it is an alloy of aluminium, mainly aluminium, which show the both property. It is light in nature. It is not so heavy as the iron, but it has high tensile strength. The both property appears in that alloy. That's why sometimes alloy are made to give the desired property to the substance. Now, this process is known as corrosion. Corrosion is the gradually eating up of metals by the action of air or moisture or any substance present in the atmosphere. And due to aerial oxidation, iron particles are destroyed by the process which is known as rusting. Rusting of iron is a type of corrosion. That's why the substances get corroded. The substances are eaten up after some time by the action of air and moisture, and the process is known as corrosion. Sometimes corrosion is beneficial also. In the case of aluminium, corrosion of aluminium, when a compound is formed on the upper surface of aluminium, then it protects the lower surface of aluminium. That's why the corrosion of aluminium prevent the aluminium particles to decay. That is, it prevents to eaten up the aluminium particles. That is, it cannot be destroyed when corrosion is carried out on the upper surface of aluminium. But generally, corrosion is not beneficial. Corrosion is harmful. Like the rusting of iron is very harmful because it can destroy many iron particles, and even bridges or buildings are destroyed after some time due to the corrosion of iron. That's why we say that the gradually eating of the metal by the action of air and water is known as corrosion, and corrosion is generally harmful to us. Rusting of iron. When iron particle is kept exposed to air for some time, then a flaky substance, a porous, flaky, lighter substance is formed on the surface of iron particles, and that is known as rust. And the reaction is Fe plus H2O plus O2, Fe3, XH2O, and this is known as hydrated ferric oxide. Hydrated ferric oxide. And this is rust. When iron particle is kept exposed to air, then a substance which is known as hydrated ferric oxide is formed. Here X is variable Fe2O3 dot XH2O hydrated ferric oxide, and this is the rust. And due to the formation of rust, the iron particles get destroyed after some time. And thus, rusting of iron is very harmful to us because it destroys many iron particles. And to prevent rusting, many activities are done like greasing or oiling the substance, iron article, greasing and oiling. Prevention, that is prevention of iron particles from rusting. Many steps are taken. Many things can be applied to prevent the rusting of iron. So one is the greasing and wiring of iron articles. The second is to make alloy, to make alloys, and electroplating is also electroplating. We will discuss later on about this thing in the next class.